I think we have been a welcoming city, and I know that you want to look at the Welcoming America program in greater detail, but there is a lot of interest in what this task force will be discussing. And our Citizens Commission on Elections, on the charter review, and other aspects that affect how we govern have been publicly noticed, and the transparency's been there. And I mean, Councilmember Moreno himself made it a central theme of his remarks during his inauguration that we need to actually expand and provide greater transparency and sunshine ordinances to ensure that that all transactions of the people are under the light of day. So I don't know why we would excerpt this as one of the first major actions of this new body. This is an issue that is getting a great deal of national discussion, a great deal of state discussion. I'm not sure why there would be a desire not to have these discussions happen in a setting that would allow all of our residents to participate and have access to the deliberations and to the materials and other information that will be provided. So I can't possibly understand the downside of having this information be public. I find it hard to understand why anyone would object.
Councilmember Moreno.
You ask why you couldn't understand why anyone would not want to have some of the conversations video recorded, live streamed. It's frankly, Councilwoman Murray, because of people like you. My concern with doing what you're asking to do is we're asking folks to engage in something that you've acknowledged, which is a very sensitive conversation about how people may be experiencing our city. They may express stories. I do anticipate that there will be testimony asked of members of our public, expert witnesses to share. And some of those narratives are very sensitive. Something that I'm not sure you quite fully grasp if you haven't lived it. It suggests some things. It's a very coded dog whistle politic you're playing. And we're very familiar with that in our community, and I take exception to it. I assume that you have some honest interest in what you're suggesting, but I just suggest that that's not appropriate for this particular task force. I don't see it as contradictory to my central theme and wish for our city, which is greater transparency. But if you do want people to be honest with candor around very sensitive political issues that impact people's lives, I think there needs to be a space for them to have that without being labeled one way or the other. So I would hope you'd be more sensitive to this issue. I know the mayor's being very sensitive to it, and I hope that our colleagues will join in that sensitivity. Lastly, you mentioned that the meetings are at 8:30 in the morning and that's not transparent. Actually, if you understood our community, you would know that many of our schools have cafecitos with the principals, with the moms and the dads at 8:30 in the morning. Because a lot of the moms, that's the time they can assist, because many of our folks work in the afternoons. And I believe it's just the first meeting that's been set up to be at 8:30, and the group will then discuss what might be the best, most accessible times and dates for folks to be able to come and share their thoughts. So it's not a star chamber, but there has to be a component where the conversations of the task force upon hearing testimony may need some sensitivity to their conversation.
Mr. Mayor, may I please respond, since that was a direct and personal attack on me? I'd like to take a point of personal privilege. First, council member, I don't understand when you're making arguments why you consistently have to attack your colleagues to do so. It just absolutely serves no purpose and is in most cases, if not all, just erroneous and unfortunate and just blatantly false. Asking for transparency and the public to be able to engage in this, is something I have asked for of all commissions, and I actually said it when I first asked for this item to come back a month ago. I said I believe all of our commissions and boards should be publicly available. So I have said that in the past, and I stand by it, and I would hope that we would continue to do so. There is no reason, and the first, per the staff report, the first meeting is going to be hearing from representatives of Welcoming America. That is not something that's sensitive or would be harmful. In fact, it would be beneficial for the community to have access to. I do understand that we have many parents, and particularly moms, since I am one, who volunteers in my schools first thing in the morning. But I choose to do that rather than be at City Hall. So my point is, we need to make sure that people can have access at a time that is most convenient to them, and that they can have access to the information, and that there's a robust and involved dialogue on this issue. We have stakeholders across the city, we have residents across the city who want to know more about what is being discussed, who have interest in this. There's very little that's known other than Welcoming America. I've looked at their website, but it seems like we're doing a lot of what they're suggesting.